Well, racist graffiti found on church prior to being burned down. Police, they're like, yeah, what's the big deal? Put it at full mast. Authorities in Paris, Texas are investigating a suspicious fire. This fire happened last week. It destroyed a black church. You may not have heard of this. That church, according to the report, had been spray painted with racial slurs before it went up in flames. Typically, you would call that motive. Now, officials have remained silent after the September 29th blaze, prompting some community members to doubt their commitment to do a thorough investigation. At least one civil rights activist raised concerns that city leaders may prioritize preserving the city's low-key reputation over addressing the real issues at hand, including ongoing racial discord. The church is called Love Tabernacle. A single-story wood-framed structure was fully engulfed when the Paris Fire Department arrived on scene at about 11:15 p.m. and put the hoses on the flames. By then, however, it was already too late. The building, which has stood for 3 years at the corner of Center Street and 13th Northeast, was reduced to ashes. Photos of the graffiti were sent to the Paris fire marshal, who arrived a short time later to inspect the scene. The Texas State Fire Marshal's office was also called in to assist the investigation. Meanwhile, Paris Police Captain Terry Bull pointed out that the fire department was handling the investigation without any input from his detectives for potential criminal charges. Now, here's the foul, right? You have, obviously, an individual or group of individuals who have established that they have an issue with Black people going to church, okay? They literally wrote it down for the police and obviously the churchgoers. A few days later, church gets burned down. Police department, they're not leading the investigation. They are allowing the fire department to lead a criminal investigation that could have created the circumstance where life would be damaged or destroyed. Doesn't matter. I have never heard of the fire department leading the criminal investigation that the police have jurisdiction to lead. Elsewhere, Pastor Tristan Love said his ministry had been at that current location since 2021, and that services will continue temporarily in Cooper, Texas, until further notice. No one was in the building at the time of the inferno. No casualties have been reported. State and local authorities are still investigating, but no further details were released. The marshals have not said whether they suspect arson. Local activists urged those in charge of the investigation to pursue hate crime charges, but police have yet to identify any suspects while facing immediate criticism from the Black community. Quote, "I've been doing this for over 20 years, and things don't get better because they're not addressed. They're glossing or glossed over or hidden," said Brenda Cherry, a rights advocate in Paris. That's according to News 12. Quote, "I've not known of a Black church being burned before, not in this area. But racist graffiti, that's a common thing." Cherry added that she was confused over why anyone would want to target a spiritual sanctuary. Quote, "It's where people go to worship," said Cherry. "Nobody comes here to do anything wrong. So why would anyone burn down a church?" Why would anyone write racist graffiti on a church? You don't do that. Chair expressed doubt in local authorities' ability to determine if the fire was racially motivated, suggesting city leaders have downplayed similar controversies before. She's asking the right questions. I would submit that they don't respect your humanity. How would they ever come to respect your right to assemble religious expression? There's more. City officials, they need to address stuff like this, not be afraid that it's going to lead to racial tension, because we already have that, she said. They need to do better. Racist or racial attacks on Black churches have a long history dating back to the early 19th century, with hundreds of cases involving arson, bombings, murders, hate crimes, often carried out by white supremacists and domestic extremists. Black church burnings, a signature some decades ago of the KKK. There's typically a cause and effect to where they don't like something, the white supremacists don't like something that the Black community or a Black leader or a Black church has done. This is because of their, privilege, typically. Moss, what are your thoughts here, dear brother?
Well, it is from the outside looking at what happened, it's such a no-brainer that obviously this needs to be investigated. And I think what's happened is, and it continues to happen, is these people have been emboldened. Because what happens when you go and you put your signature on your racism, and you put your signature on your crime, and the police department says, "Oh, we're not going to investigate. We'll let the fire department investigate it." Well, now the police department is an accomplice to that crime, because similar to what happened on January 6th, when they stormed the Capitol, and they'd been emboldened to do this because they thought, or they claimed that they had the right to do it. And then you have people like your Mitch McConnells, your Lindsey Grahams, and others who come out the next day and they say this was wrong, and then 2 days later they're kissing the ring, and they don't want to upset their racist base, who wants to be racist, who has that white privilege, as you said. Being somebody who's from the Middle East originally, I was born in Iran. I found it interesting on January 6th when they stormed the Capitol, and I was watching and I go, "Oh wow, they got terrorists too." And then I quickly realized that their terrorists are called patriots, and then they were called hostages and warriors and martyrs and whatever else they want to call them. And so these people have been emboldened from the top down. You see, when you get somebody like Donald Trump emboldening these people, you will have them end Charlottesville saying Jews will not replace us, carrying torches, and then being called good people on both sides. So similar, we have that situation here where this police department obviously is saying, "Hey, we're not going to investigate it because why? What's the reason? We feel it's arson, but what, how, who?" But the guy wrote a racial slur on the thing before he burned it down. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And again, it's been they've been emboldened from the top down, and then they become an accomplice to that crime. So really, I think pressure needs to be put on that police department and on that county to get involved and investigate and find out who set this fire, and then prosecute them.
Very well said, dear brother. And I have to submit, don't ignore the fact that technically that police department will investigate a lost dog report. And they have decided not to even do the technical thing, which is to open up an investigation. That part. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come.